Now you guys are back home. What's kind of your just team's mindset overall heading into this week?
Well, obviously acknowledging the realism of our situation. We've lost 7 in a row, and, it's kind of uncharted waters for all of us. We're not running from that. The fact is that's who we are at the moment. Having said that, I thought last week we had a really good week in terms of working hard as a team, being the most ready we could be for both of those games. There was some very good play, quality play at times in the Utah and Colorado game on offense, and the same defensively. I think especially in the Colorado game, we wore down, and that's to Colorado's credit. Now that we're back home, we had a really good practice yesterday. I think the team's mindset is in a really good place. It's up to us to be the most ready we can be. It doesn't really matter who our next opponent is. This is 100% about us and trying to break into the win column and trying to play a great game, trying to be at our best, whatever our best is. And there are always certain things you're trying to address as a coach and as a team in February, whether you're on top of the Pac-12 standings or you're at the bottom. And we're no different. So our practices are really meaningful to us. And we've had a couple good ones, like I said, last week and then yesterday, and looking forward to today's practice this afternoon.
Does it make a difference, though, knowing that you took care of Cal pretty good up there and you're coming home? Does it maybe give a little sense of confidence?
We were almost a different team then, especially, Brandon Williams. Every team goes through certain periods of time during the season when there's injuries. So it's not really an excuse, but, he has great meaning to our team. We're not a group this year on media day that I would have said we had a lot of room for error. One of the things you have your fingers crossed for is when you have a group like we have is, man, can we have the most healthy season we can have? And I think if you pay close attention, whether it's Chase not only missing those, 2.5, really 3 games, and then, all of a sudden you're back and you're not 100%, how that affected our team, it was significant. And, the thing about Brandon is his playmaking, his ability to not just score himself, but get fouled on drives, get other shots, and he's very clever, and he was getting better. The irony of his situation is the best game that he played would have been the final game before he got injured, which is at UCLA. So we miss him. We really do. And so when you look at that game, you look at this game, those are 2 different things, 2 different teams. But, again, whether we're playing Cal, Washington, Stanford, who we play on Sunday, it's so much about us. It really is, so that we can have a good performance and we can make shots. It's almost frustrating for me to say this, but I thought the way we moved the ball, and there are times on this last trip where it was as good as we've ever done during my time at Arizona. The results may not back that up, but what we can control is being efficient, running quality offense, giving great effort, being together on defense, not missing assignments. And I know I mentioned this early this week and then after the Colorado and Utah games. I can really, and I think all of us can point towards some real good things happening in both of those games. And my hope is that we can, get back in the winning column.
Is Brandon close to coming back?
I wish I could answer that. I would give you 100% my assessment, et cetera. It's just we have to be patient. Brandon has to be patient. He's moving in a good pattern, a good light. Number one, he has less discomfort, less pain than he's had. We've been able to move him into doing more things. And, whenever, Justin Kokoski, our team doctors and Brandon and his family all are aligned and feel like, okay, now's the time when he can play, then we'll play him. There's a chance he might not play at all. We're hoping that at some point he's gonna return to our team.
This week, last week you were pretty definite, no, he's not going to play. Is there still a possibility that he makes that jump and you test him a little bit in these games, or would you say no for sure?
I would say no for sure for the Cal game. I don't even want to play the, I know if I don't say no for the Stanford, it's like, well, he's going to play for Stanford. I'm not saying that. I don't really know. All I know is the next game we play, which is tomorrow, he's not going to play.
Is there a point where you consider just shutting him down for the year? Or is it because it's just a pain thing, it's a matter of how it feels?
That's really what we've done. But if, he progresses and he's cleared and he's strong and he's pain-free, of course he wants to play. So it makes no sense not to play him.
Since Chase has gotten back from the injury, he struggled a little bit. Is that injury related? What do you kind of attribute that to?
No, he has, like all these guys, it's just, you can lose confidence. And I think some of it might be that. He's working really hard. I thought yesterday he had a great practice. I know I'm only talking about practice, but really that's important because that's the thing that can lead into the game. He's working really hard. But when you go through an injury, especially a back injury, it's you do nothing. And the longer you do nothing, the more tricky it is when you start to do something that you're going to resume how you were playing before you got hurt. And as you know, Chase was playing excellent basketball. And the big reason why we were on a win streak and that we got off to a hot start in the Pac-12 is just who he was in games. Had a great game against Cal, for example. But it's taken some time, and in mid-February when you're trying to make a comeback, you don't have those 5-7 days of practice that you look right at. When we did have those days leading to the ASU game, he wasn't able to practice. So if you think about it, you're dealing with off days, you're dealing with a game, you're dealing with a day in between the second game. It's not as easy to get your rhythm back. But I think this week, Chase will have a big week. I would be surprised if he doesn't return to form.
Both you and Cal are averaging only 11.3 turnovers. I mean, it would seem. Does that seem odd to you? That's going well, at least for both of you guys.
Yeah, I know Daniel was telling me that this past weekend, or I guess in our 5 road losses, we've averaged 10 or fewer turnovers. And it's not like the past teams have turned it over 16 times a game. I mean, we're 1 or 2 maybe off from, or 1 and 2 turnovers better this year than maybe we've been in recent years. But that's a big deal. That's one thing you learn as a coach. Turning the ball over on an average of 12 times a game versus 10, you don't think that's significant. That's really significant. That's a big difference. But that's something our team's been good at from the onset. We have to continue to be good at it. As a matter of fact, when you talk about us playing our best, to have a great night, maybe where you play with 7, 6, 5, that's what we're after. But I think probably what it shows about both teams is there's more to the game than just taking care of the ball. You have to, when you shoot it, it has to go in. You have to get fouled. You have to get to the foul line. One of the hidden secrets, I really believe, just you don't talk about it when things are going well, and then sometimes you overlook it when they're not going well. But we have not shot the ball well from the free throw line either. I mean, last week that hurt us in both games. And I look at it on the season, we're .725. We're almost 73% from the line as a team, which is good. We were higher than that, and we have not shot our percentage recently. And you start losing by 6 points, or you're down 4 points with 3 minutes to go. Oftentimes you forget you've been to the foul line, a number of times in this game, and you haven't delivered. You've missed front ends of 1-and-1. You've late in the game you missed 2 in a row. So we've talked about that as well, and our routine in practice is something we pride ourselves in. And again, I hope we can get back into a rhythm. Chase is a big part of that. He was shooting the ball in a very confident way from the foul line, and hopefully he can resume it. I know the way he looked yesterday, and us working with him, and his mindset is he's in a good place there.
When you watch Cal, do they strike you any different than a month ago? And through their streak, do you see any signs of breakdowns or confidence? Or on the other hand, I know they took UCLA to overtime. Do you see them still playing hard?
I think they're still playing hard. They might have shortened their bench from the last time we were there. I know Harris Dyson is playing a little bit more, has a bigger role than the first time that we played him. But, the guy that stands out for me watching Cal is Justice Suing. He hurt us last year when he was a freshman. He's hurt us in game 1. I believe he had 25 points, 27 points. And he's a tough matchup. I mean, you look at his free throw attempts. He's shot 141 free throw attempts on the season at 82%, makes 82%. So he scored 116 points on the season from the free throw line. You look at our team, the highest is Brandon Randolph, and Brandon has scored 71 points from the foul line and shot a total of 90. So Justice Suing on the season has shot 50 more free throws than the highest person on our team. And that's a gift that he has. He draws fouls, and we have to be careful because, he could put one of our good players in foul trouble. Excellent offensive rebounder. He averages 15 points a game. He's more of a driver than he is a three-point shooter, but he's a really difficult matchup when they play him at the 4. And then when he plays the small forward, he tries to take advantage of his size. So doing a good job on him, and, that's something we've not done well this year. You look ahead of time and you talk about who the other team's best players or leading scorer is. They've played against us, and they've had career games. They've met their average. Very few times this season have we taken a really good player down and shut him down. And that's what we've been good at in the past. This year we've not been nearly as good at that. But I look at Suing as Cal's overall best player.
So how do you, I think you had Emmanuel that last matchup too. Who guards him? I mean, do you try Dylan even on him? Even though
We're gonna, we are the team that we are. So I think you'll have Dylan Smith, Brandon Randolph, Ryan Luther, Ira Lee. I think all 4 of those guys will get a shot at him.
High school playoffs are going on. I'm just curious if you're kind of keeping track on some of your signees. I know Nico finished his last game at Pinnacle last night. I don't know how closely you've been paying attention to those guys.
I mean, we're obviously very close, and we're obviously excited about them joining our program and the future. But right now, I think any coach is like this. As much as you're excited about them and you're in contact with them, your focus is on the team that you're coaching in today's practice and this week. This is a big week for our team. For us to have the opportunity to have 2 home games in a row with what we've been through here recently, we're desperate to get in the winning column. We really are. And I like our team's attitude. Our guys have never flinched in terms of being together, looking at each one of these guys and saying, are they in a good place? Some of them lack confidence. Some of them are playing better than others, but they're to the man, great guys. And it's a fun group to be around because, they come to work, and it's not as easy to come to practice when you're on a losing streak, especially at Arizona. But they've done it, and my hope is that we can experience some success, not just this week, but beyond as well. And if we could get Brandon Williams back at some point, that's going to do nothing but bolster our chances for sure. I don't believe we would be on the losing streak that we're currently on if he were healthy and playing with us. I don't think we'd be 7-0, but I don't think we'd have lost as many in a row as we have. I mean, his absence has really affected us.
Have you had Alex back this week? Is he okay with
Yep.
that?
He practiced 100% yesterday. He banged knees, so when it first happens, it doesn't feel good at all. But he's full go.
Is either a player or coach, have you ever been on a 7-game skid or longer before?
I don't know. Maybe when I was an assistant early at NC State a while back. I think in the 15 years I've been a head coach, I can say that the answer to that is no.
So it's also new territory for yourself, not just necessarily the program, but
Yep.
Is there something that goes here with each one where you try not to link them all together and just treat them one at a time?
Really, you have to let go of what just happened. I mean, you learn from it. You have a process in place. You have focus on the task at hand and making sure that we're connected to the team that we're coaching, that they understand that we're going to be okay, that we've done some things well. We had plenty of good opportunities to show them our team playing well in both the Utah and Colorado game. The objective of the game is to win, but it's also to be honest, and whatever the feedback is, that's the feedback. There's been plenty of teams that we've had where you may walk out of a film session and almost feel like we lost. and we could have won by double figures because we didn't play to our potential. We didn't execute. We were sloppy, and it's setting us up for something down the line that we don't need to be set up for. So, there are times when you do that. But right now, I think our guys are in a good mindset and excited about this week. We only have 3 home games left. I think there's a lot of pride in playing in McKale in front of our fans, and our players feel that.
You said something on the radio show the other day that you were definitely going to have 1 guy in the spring, maybe 2, and I'm wondering, because you are technically full, and I know everything changes in the spring, but I didn't know if that was, it seemed like maybe that was a sign you were kind of expecting 1 or 2 of these guys you have now might leave early.
It's happened every year that I've been here. Again, we're not at that point yet, but we're always recruiting and making sure that we can put our best foot forward and add a quality person and player to next year's team and our future if we have the opportunity to do so. What you don't want to do is you have that opportunity and you don't really have any irons in the fire. There's really no recruiting that's been going on, and now you don't have a chance to bring a quality person and player into our program. So we're always hard at that, and the future isn't right now.
Does it, just one thing, is it tougher now even more than ever with the 2-way contracts and the G League becoming more of a viable place for guys to go to, even if they aren't going to be drafted? I mean, does that mean you even have to be more alert for guys?
Yeah, and I think every person that we coach is a little bit different from the next. What means something to one kid or one family, how they see it, could be completely different from the next. So it's really hard to just kind of stereotype or judge that they're all in this category. But I think that if you look through college basketball, there's a lot of young people making those choices, and sometimes it really works for them.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you. Thanks.